We'll have the prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we thank you for your kindness in bringing us all together today. Though we may not know what this meeting holds, we know that you do. As we begin, Lord, help us to keep your word in mind. Lead us into conversations that are fruitful and enrich the lives of those who are here today. When we are undecided, please lead us in your wisdom. When our opinions may disagree, help us to remain respectful to one another. More than anything, Lord, would you help us both to seek your will and to pursue your glory through all that we say and do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, call the meeting to order for agenda business. First item is public comment.
Yes, sir. Stacy Puccio.
Each speaker will have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Stacy Lewis Puccio, and I've been helping with animal rescue for over 10 years. I've taken in everything from dogs, cats, pigs, ducks, chickens, you name it. There's a crisis in Randolph County, and another facility can help to combat this dilemma. There are countless incidents where people have been turned away at the shelter and were given my name and number for help. I've also encountered many instances with the dog warden asking for my help. Typical conversations start with, I tried the shelter but was turned away and given your number. If it doesn't start like that, I always ask if they've tried the shelter. There was the time that there were abandoned animals were being seized from a trailer where the owner had been placed in jail, and I was contacted by the warden to see if I could take the animals because the shelter was full that week. The crisis with the animals in the Mill Creek. Up in Mill Creek recently, people around the area had reported the welfare of these animals far before the owner had died. The living conditions of the trailers and sheds were uninhabitable. I have photos that would turn your stomach. The animals in this situation were failed by Randolph County. I was contacted and helped organize many rescues to get up there to help seize these animals. A woman had a senior boxer requesting assistance for vetting after falling on hard times. No one would help, so I stepped up to pay for the vetting so this animal could continue to be with the owner. It was a senior dog and didn't need a new environment. I was contacted by the original owner, recently found shot in Randolph County after being turned away from Randolph County per the owner. And now this community in Tucker County is paying for this dog. This is a dog from Randolph County. A dog on Georgetown Road kept breaking its tie out and killing the neighbor's chickens. I was contacted by the dog warden to see if I could take the dog because Randolph County was full. I scrolled through my photos last night attempting to get some sort of number of how many animals I've helped from Randolph County, but there were far too many to even count. These animals didn't get help in Randolph County. They got help in other states and other surrounding counties. In all the years of doing this, Randolph County has stepped up for one animal that I was contacted about. It was a cat named Dante with an injured foot. They said they would help the cat, and the cat was seen at the vet, but then was positive for feline leukemia and was euthanized. I have offered resources to members of Randolph County to help take animals to other rescue groups for adoption, but they always seem to have things under control. I have numerous messages offering this help and have never been given the opportunity. When the hoarding massacre situation from Huttonsville was founded, I offered to house as many dogs as necessary. I had the ability to house multiple dogs until they could be evaluated and moved, but they didn't need my assistance then either. I was once asked to attend a Randolph County board meeting, Humane Society board meeting. They discussed financials and animal processing numbers for the shelter. This Humane Society is known as a no-kill. However, that is not true. They do euthanize. When I expressed that the community should know the truth, it was not for discussion. If people see the real numbers, they're more likely to realize that there is a need for assistance. I encourage the people of Randolph County to move forward with building another facility to help these animals. I don't feel that the current administration of this shelter has the ability to take opinion or suggestion from outside sources to help their own crisis within their facility. Also, in moving forward, a county-ran shelter, as a county-ran shelter, I know you guys have said it won't be a kill shelter. I believe every animal deserves a home, but it isn't possible. The population is too great to fund an animal for its entire lifetime in a shelter because it cannot be adopted because of aggression or other behavioral issues is not practical. So please continue to be honest with the community as you take the necessary steps and even reach out to surrounding facilities to see how their operations work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Tina Lauk.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Justina Lauk, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I have been in rescue long enough to appreciate that it's not easy, and it definitely takes a team. I am hopeful that providing another facility for this county will improve the resources and options for the residents here. I have seen firsthand that our current shelter does not have the ability to adequately help all families and animals in this county. I have seen countless opportunities where animals have been turned away from safe housing at this shelter just because they don't have the capacity or due to other reasons, and they will not accept the animal to be turned over by the owner. The inability to accept animals has also prohibited the dog warden from being able to respond at times because he has no facility to accept the animal. I would like to share a few examples that I have personal experience with over the past couple of years where the shelter has not been able or not been willing to provide assistance, and the burden has fallen upon private citizens such as myself and others in this county, surrounding counties, and even out of this state. Being able to select what animals they help is a luxury that Randolph County has since they are privately owned. Having a county-ran facility would mean that every animal would have the opportunity for help. I am pleased that the Commission is trying to find other options, as I feel what we currently have in place does not always meet the needs of the citizens. I cannot count the number of times that I have had a conversation with someone that starts out, I called the shelter for help and it couldn't help me. Can you help me? In the winter of 2021, an elderly man living in a home with no running water or electricity passed away and left 40+ animals behind to fend for themselves. These were under-socialized dogs locked in trailers with windows boarded shut with no heat and water. Countless sick, pregnant, feral, roaming cats all over the property and in the home. There were animal carcasses scattered all over the property. In one shed, we found a dog that was locked in the building, and the remains of his companion was there because that's what he was eating. Family members contacted the shelter. They were not able to take on that large volume of animals that needed the immediate intervention, medical care, and extreme socialization. So the family members reached out to Stacy, and we put together a team of private people. Other surrounding county shelters were able to help, and out-of-state rescues. An additional facility in this county would have definitely helped this situation. On November 16th, 2022, a lady losing her home needed to rehome her dog. She mentioned that she tried to contact the shelter but was turned away when she reached out for private help. I'm fully aware that people say this sometimes, and that's not always the truth. So the next morning I called the shelter myself and was told the same thing. They weren't taking animals. Over the next several months, this dog was bounced between several owners and had no other resources. Unfortunately, he ended up being drugged to the woods, tied to a tree so he could not move, shot in the head at point blank range, and left there to die. He lay tied to this tree alone with a massive wound to his face, suffering until someone came upon him. Thankfully, I can report that he was discharged from the vet earlier this week. He is currently at a different county shelter looking for a home. I just wish there had been another facility here in Randolph County that could have taken him when his owners first needed help. He deserved better. The shelter failed him. And unfortunately, this is a course that many people take because they don't have other resources here. There's been a lot of misinformation in the community about what a county-owned and operated facility will mean. A county-ran shelter does not automatically mean it's going to be a high-kill shelter. Most shelters actually that are ran by the county have very successful live release rates due to the staff and the volunteers in the community. According to the West Virginia Board of Veterinary Medicine Shelter Euthanasia Report from 2021, Randolph County Humane Society reported taking in 517 dogs and cats in 2021. They euthanized 27 of them. They are not a non-kill shelter. Having additional facility along with the current Randolph County shelter will also help decrease their numbers of euthanasia. Randolph County has some very compassionate, animal-loving people here, and I, among many others, are excited for the possibility of the long-awaited change for the better. I look forward to hearing more about what the Commission's plans for the new facility and the positive resources this will bring to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Abigail Hall.
I thought I'd be a lone voice here. I'm relieved I'm not because I think I have 10 minutes. So cut me off. So my name's Abby Hahn. I run Kitten Holler, a cat rescue and trap neuter return service based in Mill Creek since 2021. And I'm here to talk about a possible county shelter and say that I tentatively support this idea. But I would like to see a plan, including a budget, housing capacity, and explicit policies on intake, placement, and euthanasia of county animals. First, I want to emphasize that I admire the work that the existing Randolph County Humane Society does. They serve the animals in their care well and propagate life-saving policies that align with the most ambitious and optimistic of modern rescues. However, it is possible to support RCHS and acknowledge that they fall short in addressing the full needs of animals in Randolph County. I'm going to go over a couple of numbers of kitten hauler intakes from Randolph County specifically from 2022. We took in and placed 130 cats with other rescues around homes. Most people who contact us had previously contacted the shelter. So as we're a volunteer group, I see this as overflow of needs that can be met. We neutered over 100 feral cats, pet cats, and our own fosters. Actually, the numbers are more like 150, but some were from out of county. So at over 100 of Randolph County pets. A lot of people are talking about how healthy animals will be euthanized at a county shelter. I can assure you, animals are already dying. The truth is, not accepting animals has deadly consequences. According to the Feral Cat Project, 75% of kittens born outside die or disappear by 6 months of age. I've seen this happen with kittens we haven't been able to intake when they were young. If they survive, they become feral after just 14 weeks, and they add to the population problem. Cats reproduce in large numbers because they die in large numbers. What happens with the animals, caretakers who are turned away? Well, individuals end up making consequential decisions. Some make good decisions and have the resources to follow through, but we all know what all too often happens. Animals get dropped on the side of the road, or they stay in homes without veterinary care, leading to more puppies and kittens. Many end with congenital health problems resulting from incest, and lots of animals live and expire in unsuitable, unsanitary conditions. I've had to throw clothes away after walking into homes where people were living with these animals. I've researched several county-funded animal shelters and discovered with proper funding, human resources, sound policies, and community support, many function as no-kill shelters. I have statistics I've already shared with all 3 commissioners in an email. I'd like to go over some of them in public comment though. I'll start with Pocahontas County. As a county-run shelter, they are obligated to take animals and have said that if forced to, they would euthanize animals to make space. However, their track record belies this statement. They have euthanized 9 dogs and approximately 40 cats in 14 years. And they were all for behavioral or health reasons. They have the capacity to house 20 to 36 dogs in emergencies, and they usually house 20 to 45 cats. Since COVID, they average an intake of 200 to 275 canines, and their feline numbers are so all over the board that they couldn't give me an average, but last year they accepted 140. They function with one full-time employee, one part-time employee who combined work 59 hours a week, not counting the animal control officer, who is also not part of the shelter here. Their annual budget is $47,900, but this does not include the full-time employee. That's paid by another department. In contrast, another county shelter is Tucker County Animal Shelter, and they are explicitly a no-kill shelter in practice and philosophy. They accept 500 to 550 animals a year with a live release rate of 97%. I'm going to add here, technically a no-kill shelter is a shelter that has a live release rate of 90+%. So they do euthanize some animals, and they do have some animals pass away in care. 97% survive though. They have 6 employees who work about 160 hours a week. Volunteers contribute another 20 hours on average, and they receive a whopping $150,000 from their county commission, as well as funds from a nonprofit 501c3 friends group. Their facility can house 10 dogs, 44 cats at a given time. They also have fosters, and they do not refuse any animals from county residents. However, what they do with feral cats is they do trap, neuter, return instead of impounding them. The final organization I will discuss is Lewis Upshur Animal Control, and they're probably going to represent something more similar to the need here. Lewis Upshur took in 456 canines in 2020, 570 in 2021, 589 in 2022, and all 3 years under 4% of canine intakes were euthanized. The director shared that one dog in 2022 was euthanized primarily to make space. One dog. It was ambivalent because she said the dog also had some behavior issues, but...
I'm gonna pause you for 1 minute.
1 minute. All right, the rest were court ordered following a bite or euthanized at the request of a surrendering owner who could not afford to euthanize an animal at the vet, so those people didn't have to attempt to shoot their animals in the woods. All right, the cat numbers are horrific. They took in 320 and euthanized 95 in 1 year, 656 euthanized 64%, or 64, which is under 10%. Last year, they took in 941 cats. They euthanized 168. Rest were replaced either with rescues or in homes. They work with the capacity to house 32 dogs, and they have 28 cat cages. Their employees combined work 99.5 hours a week, with 55 hours of volunteer labor added to that. And I'm waiting to hear back about their budget, which I will share, or you guys will probably find out before I do. Thank you for bearing with me through all of this. I want to say that there are these costs. There's also the more abstract cost of public opinion. A lot of people are here today, I think. I think they will get a chance to speak after me, to express their distress at the idea of a kill shelter possibly opening. Any shelter, including a county shelter, needs the support of the community. And Lewis Upshur, in spite of those euthanasia numbers, also have a remarkable rate of placement. Like the number, they're helping over 1,000 animals last year, well over. We can't say that as a community. There are ways to keep euthanasia numbers down, and one of the #1 things to do is to not accept feral cats. To do TNR like Tucker County does. And Tucker County actually has an ordinance regulating trap, neuter, return of cats. So I will wrap that up. One last sentence. Thank you. As I've said, county-funded animal shelters with proper funding, human resources, sound intake, and placement policies, and community support can function as no-kill shelters and accomplish a lot of good. I'm not fully convinced that it can be done for less than the $80,000 that's invested in the Humane Society, but I think it's a good idea to fund a county shelter. All right, I'm gonna hand out a written copy because I know I would want to get through everything.
Cody Thompson.
Cody.
I have copies for newspaper and also Tina Vile. Sorry.
Cody.
Hi guys. You want to read this one?
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Cody Thompson. I'm a lifelong resident of Randolph County. I've served in the West Virginia legislature, taught in Randolph County schools, and my family has owned and operated a business in the county for over 60 years. I'm highly invested in the success of Randolph County. I'm here today to speak with you on the proposed resolution for a county-run animal control facility. I'm adamantly opposed to this measure for many reasons. The Randolph County Humane Society is a truly wonderful facility. It is reported that not much change has happened there in many years. This is just not true. My uncle ran the shelter for many years in the 80s and 90s, and I've seen the major improvements to expand and upgrade the facility since that time. I'm opposed to the proposal that this would not be a kill shelter. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe this. I know how government runs and works and can change when new legislators or new commissioners are elected. I feel that there is no guarantee that could be put into place to solidify that. I also believe that the RCHS should be receiving more funding from the county, not less, and certainly not to be essentially in competition with a county government-ran facility. Perhaps with more funding, the issue of animals being turned away would not happen if they had more funding to expand or to expand the trap, neuter, release initiatives. As commissioners, we entrust you to be good stewards of our tax dollars. This is not that. This is absurd, and I respectfully request this resolution to be tabled. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Cody.
Nancy Tavalachi.
My name is Nancy Tavalachi. I wanted to straighten something out. I'm just gonna read parts of the letter. I think you all got yours, I'm not sure, but I sent it out Tuesday morning. I was led down the path to believe Mineral County was the model for a new shelter being proposed by the county. Mr. Seiler said he could run a shelter for $125,000, and Mineral County was mentioned a few times with no other counties mentioned. He later admitted that was for a kill shelter and he was not proposing a kill shelter. At this point, it would be incredulous for me to believe that. Even if the proposed facility is no kill, it would be insensible, injudicious, and inadvisable to think of planning, building, and operating a new shelter without including the present Humane Society for many reasons. It would be unfair to do this without them. In fact, Mr. Seiler's refusal to include them and to withdraw funding and not discuss anything with them should be examined. The RCHS has saved the county money each year by serving both as a drop-off for the dog warden and being a humane society. The present director has been there for 22 years. She made the decision that no animal would be killed to make room for another. Dogs and cats are vaccinated, illnesses and injuries taken care of, sometimes resulting in thousands of dollars for one animal. They are spayed and neutered and a home sought for them. I know that the director, staff, and volunteers put their heart, their blood, sweat, and tears into the care of these animals. And I also contacted several other counties in West Virginia. Some have kill county shelters with humane societies that pull from those county facilities. There is a working relationship and there are no restrictions on the humane societies. They pull as many animals as they can, and many counties do not even address the cat problem. So this cost is quite a lot more than what the county now gives the shelter. And there are humane societies, auxiliary organizations work very hard to raise funds so that the animals in the county-run facilities do not get put down. The vet bills are taken care of and adoptions and rescues found. One thing they all have in common is that they cooperate. Fairmont is finishing up a new shelter and it costs $2 million and it will hold 32 dogs. RCHS holds more. And you statement that it will not cost a penny and that's to build, but what about future years and cost? And all these people before me, there's one thing that can change this, and that's what we've got is spay and neuter. We've got to have like spay and neuter clinics. Charleston has a big one. We are the largest county in West Virginia. You know, we need funding. We do need to do TNR. It takes funding. We need enforcement. We need people to be responsible, which not, responsible. It's not gonna happen. We've got to look into spay and neuter clinics to stop all these animals. It's very sad. It's a huge need. And everything costs more these days. Food, utilities, gasoline, and vet bills. You know, why would you withdraw funding from a shelter that has saved you money for years? And why would you exclude them? It would be going backwards. You have expertise, you have training, years of dedication and service to animals. These are very valuable assets. Why would you want to do anything without the present Humane Society? I would like to see a resolution put forth by one of the commissioners that a new facility will not go forward unless it is a joint venture. RCHS has given decades of service and responsible duty to Randolph County while giving great care to animals. And I would like to share a quote from a person who is a director who's been in animal welfare for 40 years, 4 decades. They have their own veterinary clinic on site. They spay and neuter 2 times a week. It's a very big place. Quote, "I can see that many different types of people make up our animal welfare community. Not all of us agree on everything, but there are common goals between the agencies. We have learned that in pooling resources, we best serve the needs of all people and animals. There are many organizations that believe in the no-kill movement. The organizations making the most progress are the ones that work together with others to help even more animals. We are proud to work with many shelters and organizations," unquote. Common goals, pooling resources, work together. Proud to work with shelters. This is what we should do, and to just do this with no concern for what we already have, when it could be such a good thing, but it's starting off as such a bad thing. And I wish there would be some more thinking and planning for this. Thank you.
Rose Bell.
Good afternoon. I didn't bring anything because I just am not very good at writing speeches. I've been living in Elkins since 1997, and it's about 26 years. And ever since I moved here, I have seen a lot in this town change. Some things for the better, some things not so much. When I first moved here, the first time I ever saw the shelter, I will admit, to me it looked a little bit disheveled, like a neighbor's house that had been turned into a shelter. However, despite how it looks, they have done an incredible job over the last 26 years doing the best that they can with what they have. Now, if they were given enough to actually function as some of these larger shelters with their own vets and facilities like that, then there would be no need for a county shelter, because they would have the capacity to deal with all of the animals that keep getting brought to their door. And yes, we do have a large number of animals in this county that are turned away at the shelter, and they don't turn them away because they don't care. They turn them away because they literally don't have room in their facility for it. And it probably breaks their heart every time they have to say no. And I am one of the people who has also rescued animals that have been dropped on the side of the road. Like last month, I saved a rabbit that someone had left in a cage next to the street by the train bridge. They left him in his cage that was full of nasty hay and poop. And if he had managed to escape that cage, he would have had 2 options: get hit by a car or drown in the river, because that's where he was left. And it looked to me like it was an animal that a parent had gotten, had not done the research on how to care for it, which is often what happens with these animals. They don't do their research on how to care for them, and then rather than find a home for it that's a safe home for it, or try and work something out with a shelter or a foster, they dump it on the street, or they shoot it in the woods, or they throw it in the river in a bag. I mean, and these are people who are being very irresponsible by not doing the research on how to care for these animals. And that's how these shelters get so badly overwhelmed by the numbers. And I'm sure that it's very easy to look at these animals as numbers on a piece of paper. Animals have the capacity for understanding human emotion on a level that most people don't get unless they spend enough time with those animals to see it. I volunteer at the shelter as often as I can as a cat socializer, because some of these feral cats or cats that have been abandoned, you don't see what their real personality is while they're in a cage, because they can't show who they really are when they're surrounded by noise and weird smells and confusion. And it's really difficult to place some of these animals as soon as they come in, because they have to work with them to get them to trust again, because these are animals that in a sense have been betrayed by people they thought they trusted, and now they're stuck in a cage. So what is the right answer for this? Should we build a whole new facility with the Randolph County Humane Society at the core of it? Or should we give them what they need in order to expand what we already have, what has been working, not perfectly, but it has been working to the best of their ability? Now, if we want them to be successful, we should be helping them, not hindering. The trap, neuter, release programs in New York City alone, they have 3,100 cat colonies in New York City, and every one of those colonies has been trapped, neutered, and released. And the reason they do that is because every time you put a feral cat back, no new cat fills that hole. But if you take that cat out and put it in a shelter, another cat fills its spot. But if he's fixed and put back, they'll put a little notch in their ear to show which ones have been fixed. And that colony just stays there, and they age and die or whatever. But it's a much slower process than kittens who can breed at 4 months old and have kittens and kittens and kittens all year long. It's at 4 months that they're able to make babies. So how exactly is it good to build a whole new facility, dumping money into a whole new facility with new staff, new people who are not familiar with the animals in our area yet? They have to get acquainted with all of our veterinary staff. They need to get used to our dog. I mean, everybody has to learn to work together in this environment to be successful. But by building a new one, you're taking people who have already spent the last however many years working with our locals on how to get these things, how to solve these problems together, and replacing them with all new people who have no idea who are, I mean, most of the people that you'll be getting are new people, more than likely, that are not used to working with all of our locals. And I think it's important to expand and work with what we have than to build something new that doesn't have any, it doesn't feel like there's any heart in it. You're just doing it because you can, instead of using some creative juice to get what we have to be more successful. Anyway, I'm gonna go sit down because.
Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Tina Vile.
Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Tina Vile, and I serve this county as president of the Randolph County Humane Society Board of Directors, and as the liaison between this board and this body for over a decade now. I'd like to speak to the resolution proposed here today that will ultimately result in funding to build a new animal control facility. I'm confused by this as a grant writer, a taxpayer, and in my role with RCHS. Our two entities have enjoyed a solid working partnership for many years, and until our annual meeting in February, we had no reason to believe that anything about that had changed. The news that you were looking into building your own animal control facility, which would result in rerouting funds from RCHS, came as a complete and total surprise. Until that moment, we had not been approached by any of the commissioners with questions, concerns, requests for conversation, nothing. I will say again that we stand ready to have substantive conversations about how services can be expanded and improved with existing resources. I am a grant writer, and accompanying every request for funding I have ever written, there's always a plan included for operations after the build, for stakeholder engagement, for intended programmatic outcomes, and for sustainability beyond what the grant provides. We've seen none of that with regard to this resolution. So informed solely from the announcement in the paper about this proposed new facility, it appears that availability of space at RCHS is a driving force in this project, as has been mentioned a lot today. This is a consequence of pet overpopulation and is a reality nationwide, except, as has been noted, in areas where municipalities have placed a high priority on spay and neuter services. This simply must be a major part of any conversation about animal control. We can build facility after facility after facility to simply house animals, but that will not change that reality. From a grant writing perspective, if I were a funder, I would have to ask these questions. Commissioner Seiler has said that he would like to model this new facility on Mineral County's animal control facility and maintains that it wouldn't be a kill shelter. Until recently, and your clarification that would not be the plan, I've been wondering about how both of those things could be true. It makes outcomes very unclear. So what will the capacity of this facility be, and how long will you keep them? We know that RCHS does not euthanize healthy adoptable animals in order to make room for more healthy adoptable animals, which means we are generally going to be running at or near capacity until the whole community takes spaying and neutering seriously and provides services that will get us to 75% spayed and neutered animals. We've heard that this facility will house animals when RCHS can't take them. Will they then be spayed and neutered and available for adoption or some other disposition? In terms of stakeholder engagement, why aren't all of the stakeholders sitting down to discuss meaningful, impactful ways to provide adequate resources and services to Randolph County residents beyond what we can do at our current funding levels? In terms of sustainability, what funding will support this facility after the initial build, which is presumably to be funded through grants? How much will it then cost taxpayers to operate? Please show the taxpayers how this will be a more sustainable, cost-effective approach than working with our CHS to expand capacity. Also, in terms of programmatic integrity and sustainability, what credentials will be required of the people running this facility? We believe, and have evidence supporting it, that this commission has been given incorrect information about our CHS and how things have worked in the past. If for no other reason, out of respect for this long-standing partnership, we would appreciate the courtesy of transparency and good faith opportunity to address concerns that are motivating this proposed facility before money is spent on it. We have big dreams too that incorporate all the things that have been mentioned here today and are only hampered by funding. Anyone in rescue, everyone in rescue has very sad stories. We all do. Make no mistake though, our primary concern is the animals of Randolph County using evidence-based industry standard best practices. And experience tells us that the innocent animals will die if this goes forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tina.
Margaret Geiser.
I'm Margaret Geiser. I'm not prepared, but I volunteered at our shelter a lot, and I've lived in this county a long time. And yes, occasionally there are animals put down there, because you go in there and every cage has got a huge pit bull in there, and if they get out, they're jumping on some other dog. They can kill each other if you're not careful. So sometimes if a dog is not able to be placed, is not safe to be placed, they may be euthanized. You can't think that to build a whole new shelter is going to help when we already have something that's working and has served this community for 20, 30, however many years it's been. It doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't put that money into this shelter, because the problem is it's not big enough. It doesn't get enough money. And so to put that somewhere different, I don't see how that helps the issue at all. I think we need to put money into what we've got instead of starting totally over, going through the whole learning curve, and who knows where the new shelter would be 10 years down the line. We don't know. We've got something that's working. Does it work perfect? No. Do we have animals tied up in the woods? Yes. I'm not sure that's the shelter's fault. If you are full up, what are you supposed to do? Hospital is filled up. They say, sorry, we don't have room. We're gonna have to go there. We do this all over the place. If we're not funding it, what do we expect? So we need to put the money where we've got something already going, instead of starting all over and thinking we're gonna solve this problem. I don't hear any new wonder cures here. It seems like what we've got, we need to fund it, basically. That's what I think.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you all. All right. Next item on the agenda is our minutes from our last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 2nd, 2023 meeting as submitted.
Okay, motion on the floor is to approve our minutes from our March 2nd meeting. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Next item on the agenda is reports. Do you have anything from 911? Tyler, you got anything from our canine unit?
Nothing's changed, sir.
How's Twix?
He's doing great, ready to come back.
All right, good.
Be back Monday.
Sheriff?
Nothing at this time.
Anything in Brenda's office? All right, correspondence. We have a thank you letter from the folks at the Art Center. Thank you for supporting the Art Center with your recent donation and all donations in the past. Our team has a great appreciation for the arts, and we want to inspire this community. Donors truly make this possible. We want to encourage connections and bring arts opportunities to everyone. No goods or services were exchanged for this donation. Please allow this letter to serve as a receipt for your contribution. If you have any questions, please call a member of our team. Thank you for investing in the Art Center. Next item is the announcements. Announcements, our next meeting will be April 6th at 1:30 here in this meeting room. Okay, number 8 is items for discussion and action. I'm going to ask that we move items T and U up to the front, make them item A and B, and then everything else will be moved down. Is that okay with everybody?
That's fine.
All right, so the first item on the agenda then will be consider approval resolution to request congressionally directed spending. All right, let me get to the number T. All right, we have a resolution that says, be it resolved, the Randolph County Commission here certifies that it has legal authority to apply for and administer a request for congressionally directed spending for fiscal year 2024 from the office of U.S. Senator Joe Manchin. That a resolution has been duly passed as official act of the applicant's governing body, authorizing the filing of the application on March 12th, 2023, including all outstanding and assurances contained therein, directly authorizing the Randolph County Commission President, the person identified as the official county representative of the applicant, to plan, budget, and apply, receive, and administer the funds and provide such additional information that may be required. And it will be signed by the Randolph County Clerk. Is there any discussion on this matter?
No.
So what this is funding that is open through congressional spending that could be used if we do get it to build whatever we decide for an animal shelter, animal humane officer building, whatever we decide. But this just states that we will be applying for that funding. All right. So any further discussion on the matter? All in favor? Aye. All right, so that motion passes. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of resolution for animal control facility. Any discussion on this matter?
Yeah, I think we need to table that until we get more, down to where plans are as far as policies, procedures, what the funding's what it's gonna cost to build, what it's gonna cost to run. And get more numbers and more research down before we make a decision on whether we want to do this or not.
Thank you. I agree. I think there's need to be total transparency on it. Budget, how much it's gonna cost. We don't know where it's gonna, if we did it, where it would go. So, I think saying that we're gonna do it when we don't even know if we have the money for it, I think is reckless. So, I agree on the matter. It should be tabled. Anything, Chris?
No, I agree with both of you, I think.
All right.
Go up and look and see what all we really need or what can be done.
All right. So do you have a motion to table this item?
I'll make a motion to table it.
So motion on the floor is to table, consider approval of resolution for animal control facility. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Next item on the agenda is, I want to actually ask to be moved up, letter N, consider approval of pay application number 7 for pool splash pad. And the reason why I want to talk about, what has happened so far with the pool and splash pad before we do the pay application. This was the rendering that we decided on when we first initially started doing the pool project. Can everybody see? I'm gonna move it a little bit too. All right. This is the Elks pool prior to what we wanted to do. This was over here. And then we were initially wanted to do a splash pad. So the splash pad will be on where the kiddie pool used to be. Splash pad fixtures. We went with a wilderness theme. So we're going to go have, the splash pad fixtures will all be animals try keeping what is in Randolph County. And then the next is when we started. This is back in July of last year. If anybody remembers the old pool, the pump house used to be about right in this area here, and you had steps down that led into the pool house, which was not ADA accessible. It is now. So we flattened that area out, and this was the foundation for the pool pump house. And then we thought we actually did a change order on, this is the old end of the bathhouse where we thought we needed a concession stand. So the foundation for a concession stand was added. Again, just some further progress where we expanded to the concession stand and then the new pool pump house. Again, another view of the concession stand and pump house. Splash pad area, leveled out, framed for concrete where the old kiddie pool used to be. Gravel, when we had to rip up all the old concrete around the old pool. We took out the old gutter system because it was rusted. The drains were all rusted out. So we put a new aluminum gutter system in the pool, around the pool, dug out the new drain system. We added a shelter. There'll be an enclosed shelter, which will house 4 picnic tables underneath of it. 2 will be ADA accessible. March of this year is when we got the liner. The liner was one thing that held us up in the fall because it had to be 40 degrees for a certain amount of days for them to install the liner for it to adhere to the old concrete. So the liner was been installed. There's a picture of the new draining system. And then thank you to the Beverly Fire Department for filling up the pool for us. Again, when we got more concrete work done around the pool, and you can see in the liner we actually did lanes so we can have, there will be laps, people can swim laps in the pool. Better rendition of the splash pad area. And if anybody has been to the Elks, like, when I was a kid and stuff, this was how you could get into the pool on this one side. Well, we are transitioning this concrete area from the pool to the splash pad. It'll be a shade of blue concrete, like water flowing from the pool to the splash pad so the kids can back and forth from the splash pad to the pool. And then the outer area will be the gray concrete. As of yesterday, how the pool is starting to take shape, concrete work is done around almost the bulk of the pool. Again, water's in the pool. The system's not up and running yet, so we do have some leaves and stuff in the pool yet. But you can see the amount of space that we're going to have. This is the shelter. The amount of space where the old pump house used to be is all going to be opened up, flattened out in concrete area for chairs. and the guardrail, the handrails are already installed in the pool. And if you remember when you, as a kid, there used to be a slide over here for the little kids to come down. That's been moved to the other side of the pool because it's gonna be like in the shape of a beaver, so the kids will climb up and slide out of the beaver. And then the big kids, we had to raise the pool up for drainage problems, so you can't dive no longer in the pool, but in here there'll be a slide where the kids can come up and they slide down, the bigger kids can slide into the big area, deeper into the pool, which I think is a little over 6 feet. Where the bulk of the money went was into the new pump house system, a brand new sand filter for the existing pool. This is a heater for the existing pool to heat the water. And then over here, these are the pumps that will control the splash pad. Splash pad we'll be able to close off the pool, and where the splash pad, because you don't have to have a lifeguard there because there'll be no standing water. So if it's after hours or something, people come up and push a button and it will start the system up for run for 15, 20 minutes and then shut back off. So if it's not, if it's still good weather and stuff, we'll still be able to do that. Concession room, if you can see, this door leads out to the old bathhouse, and this is the whole new interior for the concession stand area. Signing, we went back and forth on our sign. There'll be a sign at the end of the road, welcome to the Randolph County Community Pool and Splash Pad. We're partners with the Elks and the County Commission. Dan Hill Construction has volunteered. They're gonna pay for the stone work around the sign, and then the County Commission will pay for the sign. So I just wanted to give you an update on what the pool was gonna look like, and excited. And then the bathhouse, we completely redid, tore out all the fixtures, all that old fixtures. There's new tile on the wall. There'll be new showers. And speaking of showers, on the outside of the wall, where's the big picture? Okay, this is the old, you see there's the double doors there, the old double doors where it's been replaced with a roll-up door. But along the side of the building down here, we'll have 2 outside showers and a water fountain. And then inside, there'll be, of course, a boys and girls bathroom with a shower in there and all new plumbing fixtures and stuff. So we totally redid the bathhouse for the kids. So just a brief update on the pool and splash pad project. We're looking again to open up the weekend of Memorial Day, having a thing on that Friday, like a ribbon cutting ceremony, and then grand opening for the kids and stuff on that Friday, ribbon cutting, and then opening on Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. So with that, we have another payment application from Dan Hill Construction, and this amount is $233,417. Again, and then the balance to completion is $722,000. So we're whittling away on that $2.1 million that we had set aside for the pool. So do I have a motion to accept the payment and pay the pay application for the amount of $233,417.88?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the payment application for the pool splash pad project in the amount of $233,417.88 to be taken from community development.
All right, so motion on the floor is to approve the pay application for the pool splash pad project in the amount of $233,417.88 from community development. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now let's get on to the regularly items on the agenda. First one is consider approval of the proposed budget for fiscal year 2024. All right, so we spent the past couple, almost a month going through our budget process, and I just want to let everybody know, first off, the levy rate will stay the same at $14.07. We are estimating $12,639,190 in revenue, down from the prior year of $13,134,585. And if you go back and look, anybody wants to look at our budget, we had refunds and reimbursements the prior year of $900,000, and the bulk of that came from COVID reimbursement funding. So that was why we had a major decrease in prior year. We have an increased estimated property tax revenue of $334,000. So even with the loss in COVID funding, we still were, the property taxes came in extra $334,000. Budgets, we continue, since I started and working with when Chris C. and Mark Scott was first here, working down area has their own budget. Brenda has her budget, the sheriff has his budget, county commission has their own budget, we also take care of the courthouse budget. So we've continued to whittle away on our budget. Again, we decreased the county commission budget by $38,773 for this next coming fiscal year. We decreased the county courthouse budget by $288,705. And by reducing and maintaining and working with the other elected officials, we are again able to allow and give out a 5% raise for all employees. So what we do is we give out, when the sheriff comes and asks for money, his wage line is up by, we take it and break it down by each employee, how much they will, what that would cost us. And we give them a 5% over that prior year, and then they disperse it to their employees. We did create a pool line in this budget, which we've never had in prior years, and we stuck $25,000 in there for contingencies. Everything's brand new, so everything should be under warranty, so we stuck $25,000 in there. In case anybody doesn't know, the county pays for the regional, we have a regional jail bill that we get every month, and it's usually $100 and some plus thousand. So in that, we budgeted, so that we get $12.6 million. Of that $12.6 million, $1.5 million we have budgeted that will go to the regional jail bill. So that's, you have $12 million to operate, but you give 1.5 because it is directed by the Senate and House that we have to pay that jail bill. So we have to budget, and we budgeted $1.5 million in that because we have, like I said, we average a little over $100,000 a month in that bill. We continue to support top three contributions, which our main one is the Ambulance Authority. We give them, in years past, $110,000, and we will continue to do that. The Health Department, we give them, in years past, $83,000, and we will continue to do that. And then the Humane Society, we give them, in years past, $80,000, and we will continue to do that. So those are our top three contributions. We also have other entities that we've helped fund throughout the year, and libraries, just not the Randolph County, the Elkins Public Library, the libraries throughout the county. And all those libraries in the county, we give them we have budgeted to give them $81,500 for this coming year. The Senior Center is a major funding mechanism for the county, and we continue to work with Laura Ward at the Senior Center on funding. We were able to last year increase funding, and we were able to increase this year's funding for the Senior Center. Last year we gave them $60,000. This year we are giving them $70,000. And she also controls the county roads transit, and we are continuing to give them $35,000. Areas that where we have reallocated funding are, first one is Elkins Main Street. In the past, the county commission has given that organization $25,000. There has not been a director for the Elkins Main Street in the past 6 months. We did not receive a funding request from them during our budgeting process. So we are reallocating those funds to better serve the county as a whole, and increasing the Randolph County Chamber of Commerce line. See, the Elkins Main Street just mainly deals with Elkins downtown businesses, where we felt that it would be better if we increase our funding for the Randolph County Chamber of Commerce, which helps businesses throughout the county. And in years past, we gave them $3,500, so we are moving that to $15,000, along with general yearly requests we get from them, and right now roughly is about $10,000, and that's for things for like the 4th of July fireworks, the Christmas parade, and such. So roughly, funding for the Chamber of Commerce went from roughly $13,500 to $25,000. Another area that will be reallocated is Elkins Parks and Recreation. We never received a funding request from this organization for the upcoming budget. A portion, when we in years past gave them $24,000. So we are reallocating that money, and a portion will go towards that $25,000 that we have put in the pool line. And we also are looking into grants to aid in recreation in other areas of the county. If you were here a couple weeks ago when Steve Walmsley had talked about Mill Creek, their city park. So we are looking at grants and also working with mayors in Harmon, Dry Fork, Mill Creek, to redo their parks and recreation. Another area of funding that we will continue is the Elkins Depot Welcome Center, CDP, through our hotel motel tax. And what that is a tax that the county gets from any hotel that's outside the city. When you go to pay there's a line on your bill that says hotel motel tax, and that goes to the county. The county then takes half of that, and it goes to the depot center, the welcome center, to help promote tourism for the county. And we are estimating that they will get about $176,500 from that tax in the upcoming year. Upcoming projects, we are, again, like I spoke to here, we are looking to open the first ever county-owned and operated pool splash pad on Memorial Day weekend. We will be relocating the prosecuting attorney's office to the old Jury Smith building across the street. They have just simply run out of space. If you've ever been up to their office, they're working out of room closets. So we are purchasing that building, and that will be starting to move that Michael Parker and his staff after the 1st of June. We're excited to announce that we will be working with Kirk Gaynor and the Ambulance Authority in its search for land on Corridor H for a new substation. He's came and talked to us this past week. They are fully staffed, which he's been able to maintain. He's been there several years and has done a tremendous job. And as Corridor H continues to expand and open up, we feel, and he feels, that there is a need for a new substation along Corridor H for faster response times to Colton area or Montrose area. So we are looking for land with him, partnering with the Ambulance Authority for looking for land along Corridor H. So if anybody knows any land that we can purchase, cheap, yeah, or be donated. And we are looking to build a new substation. So that will be an exciting new partnership that we are looking to do. Lastly, and was mentioned, I'd like to mention is that we also have budgeted potentially to hire a second humane officer. That's something that the county is long needed. And during the interview process for our current humane officer, Ron Gooding, we had several applicants that we feel could be potentially for a second one. And that would give weekend coverage for the county and better overall response time in needs of a crisis. So again, we have budgeted for a potential second humane officer. Lastly, I just want to thank all the elected officials and our county employees who we could not have done this budget process without, and their conservative spending over the past years, which led to the county remaining in the black. Which in prior years was not maintained by prior commissions. They were spending more than what was bringing in and reducing the rainy day fund or the stabilization fund, where we have been able to live within our means. And actually, we have anything that the sheriff's office or Brenda's office or Parker's office or circuit clerk's office or judge or anybody, that if they do not spend their budget, then that comes back to us, and then that comes into the thing as a rollover. And we've anticipated a rollover about $3.5 million in our current budget as well. So again, I want to thank all of them, and we are looking forward to end this fiscal year, because this is fiscal year 2024 that I'm talking about, because we end in July the 1st. So we're looking to end our fiscal year 2023 in the black once again. So if nothing, any further comments on the matter?
Need to thank Brooke too, especially.
No, yes, we could not have done this without Brooke. Able to, because if anybody knows that Excel sheet, it's like this long on the screen, and there's so many tabs that you have to back and forth, and if you're off a penny, nothing balances. And able to, if we would need something, what did we spend on this last year, or what's like, and in Kathy, and in Brenda's office, helping us with the wage line, having it broken down by every employee, what a 3%, 4%, or 5% raise would look like. There's just so many people it's just not us three that decides this budget. I mean, we sit down with every elected official, they present us with what they would like to see, and 99% of them, except for the sheriff, asked for exactly what they had last year, and that was able to do. I'm just picking on the sheriff; he did the same. was able, by them controlling their spending to what it was last year, and then, and actually we're able to reduce some lines, helps us to, again, to reward us, our employees with another 5% raise for the next fiscal year. So again, I just wanna thank everybody. So do I have a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2024 as presented?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2024 as presented.
So motion on the floor is to approve the budget for fiscal year 2024 as presented. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item on the agenda is an informational presentation from Randolph Tucker Children's Advocacy Center. Did she make it? All right, so do you have a motion to table this? She was unable to make the presentation.
I'll make a motion to table the informational presentation from Randolph Tucker Children's Advocacy Center until which time she can make it here.
Okay, so motion on the floor is to table an informational presentation from Tucker Randolph Children's Advocacy Center. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is informational presentation and funding request from Youth Golf Association.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Mary Snelson, and I'm here today representing the Elks Lodge John Valentine Youth Golf Program. And I want to thank you. I'm just going to make this a real brief presentation. I currently serve as president of the organization, a job that Robin Mams held for a lot of years, and she moved away and entrusted this job with me. Our other officers are Ray Koss, Mark House, and Jose Angular. And we all volunteer our time to make this program a success for our young golfers. We are affiliated with the First Tee of West Virginia, but we do not charge our participants, any fees. I know in Mon County they do charge, I don't know, $70 or $80 for kids to play. And so, we're teaching kids how to swing a golf club, but we are also concentrating on the core values associated with golf as well, like honesty, integrity, responsibility, confidence, sportsmanship, perseverance, respect, courtesy, and judgment. And we, for years, have had just great groups of kids participate in this program. They're very polite and mannerly, and they listen, and it's really pretty amazing, and it's been a lot of fun to work with them. We have several components to what we do. We started this winter and going down to the old, I call it the old Armory, but it's the Phil Gaynor Center, and we work with kids after school a couple times a month. It gets kind of wild sometimes because we just have a big net up across the middle of the Armory, but we're just trying to get them to get up and swing a club. Some kids are very hesitant, others really enjoy it. This year, we're going to have our sign-ups on April 15th, and we really think we're going to have an increased number of participants this year. We only had about 25 last year, but I don't think we were able to advertise as heavily. I'm not really sure why. We will not turn away any golfers, and I think we're going to have twice or even triple the number of kids we had last year. I've been getting emails and calls throughout the winter asking, when's it going to start? Can you enroll my child? We're going to start on Monday evenings. We take the kids, and excuse me for saying kids, but the golfers, down to Crystal Springs to the driving range, and we give them a bucket of balls and help them learn how to swing a club. I don't do any instruction of golf. I just do the paperwork and that kind of stuff. We do that on Monday evenings in May, and by the way, Jim Bilek really helps us out on the price of the tokens and everything down there. Then we start going to the golf course in June, practice with driving, putting, and pitching, and then the final week we have a little competition, a local one, for drive, putt, and pitch. It's kind of a fun event. We give trophies and all that. And then we're going to start on the Monday mornings after that giving some small group lessons that'll continue for as long as students are interested. Ray Koss mainly does that instructing, and he does a real good job with that. We also pay for any of our golfers who are interested. They can go down to Stonewall Resort and get a free lesson from Mike Rogers, who's the pro down there. I think we spent about $800 last year, but we'll pay for lessons as long as there are kids that want to go. We give any kids that come get a putter and an iron that they get to keep.
We give practice balls, tokens for the driving range, and this year we're gonna be getting polo shirts for each of our golfers, because, you know, t-shirts are cheaper, but golf etiquette says that, you know, you have to have a polo shirt. All of our funding comes from donations. We've gotten money from this organization in the past. We just got a nice grant from the Snowshoe Foundation, Woodford Oil, Tigers Valley Lions Club, Kiwanis Club. Record Logistics has given us money in the past, as has Northern Eagle Distributing. And then we have a lot of local individuals who give us money as well. Junior golf is open to students between the age of 6 to 18, and we welcome all levels, from kids that have never held a club to kids that have their own clubs and just need some advanced instruction. And I just want to talk for a minute about the drive, chip, and putt contest. Last year we had 3 children from here enter. They went to Parkersburg, and one young golfer actually won in Parkersburg. She went to Farmington, Pennsylvania, and won there, and then went to New York, where she was not successful. Had she been, she would have played at Augusta National the few days before the whatever that competition is there. I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry. Anyhow, we got a lot of PR whenever this little girl, she was 8 years old, went down there. So I think that's another reason that our program is growing. So I did send a letter requesting $1,500 from the county commission, and naturally we would welcome any support that you can give. If you're out and about on any Monday evening in May or June and you want to come watch these kids, you know, see the joy on their face the first time they hit a golf ball, we'd be happy to have you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I just love, you can tell you've got a passion for this, so, I mean, it shows, and I really admire that, so.
Well, thank you. I wish I would have been able to start golfing when I was a kid, because I didn't start until I retired from work, and so, the little girl who went really far in the competition, she beats me whenever I play with her. I'll tell you, she's really good, so.
Well, I mean, this is something great too, that, you know, to get the kids to do besides something that he may end up seeing them for, so.
Right,
I
well,
mean, this is just.
exactly, and it's a lifelong sport, and there are scholarships available. We have kids on the high school golf team. Also, I didn't mention this, last year we had a young boy, a young girl who played on the Callaway Junior Tour, which is just some tournaments around the state, and they did real well with that, so.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this several times in the past several months, but one thing is with scholarships, you mentioned that's actually one of the biggest scholarships for girls right now for college, is looking for female golfers.
Right. A lot of them go unfilled.
Yes, and there's a lot of scholarships open for that for right now, so it's a good thing. And like you said, it's a lifetime sport. When I play with the guys over in Parsons, I always get beat by the guys that are 80 years old, and they can drive straighter than I can and putt better than I can.
You should come up on Monday nights and help us. We need help. If we get.
Actually, I need help, so y'all might have to play on 16.
I need help too. But
I might have to bring in a fake birth certificate
yeah,
so I can get the class.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
How many years y'all been doing this?
Well, you know, I'm not sure about that. I know for at least 10 years. And I've got a book at home that's got pictures of, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that Jennifer Lamora was in a youth golf program, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a few years since she would have been there. It's fun. Sometimes they get kind of wild, but, you know, they're kids.
All right, so do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the funding request from the John Valentine Junior Golf Program in the amount of $1,500 we're taking from hotel motel tax.
A motion on the floor is approved, funding request from John Valentine Junior Golf Program in the amount of $1,500 to be taken from hotel motel. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will need, if you would, put an address, because we
Okay.
need an address on here where,
Okay.
we can send a check to.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of funding request from Elkins Energy Youth Basketball. Do we have anybody here for that? We received a letter from, you want to speak to it?
Yeah. Brian Thompson brought this over to my house and dropped it off, one evening here, this past week. It's from Elkins Energy, about Elkins Energy Youth Sports. Elkins Energy Youth basketball teams are comprised of student athletes in 4th to 9th grades from Randolph and surrounding counties. Teams will be competing in several basketball tournaments around the region, including Bridgeport and Charleston, West Virginia, and Deep Creek, Maryland. Elkins Energy Youth Sports has developed competitive team options. Currently, we have approximately 50 student athletes and a volunteer coaching staff of 10. Each team is in need of basketballs, uniforms, and financial assistance for tournament fees. The reason for this letter is to ask your business to donate to our cause. Elkins Energy Youth Sports is a registered nonprofit organization, and your donation can and should be used as tax money, not for us. Thank you for your consideration and support. The Elkins Energy Youth Sports Board members, coaches, and athletes.
All right, so do we have a motion to approve the request from Elkins Energy Youth Basketball?
You know, speaking with Brian said the average donation was about $500. So I'll make a motion to approve the funding request from Elkins Energy Youth Basketball in the amount of $500 to be taken from hotel motel tax.
Motion on the floor is to approve the funding request from Elkins Energy Youth Sports in the amount of $500 to be taken from hotel motel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is to approve the funding request from Beverly Heritage Center. We received a letter from the Beverly Heritage Center, would like to request $25,000 from the second half of the hotel motel tax for a period of January through June 2023. These funds are necessary for programming, educational outreach, promotion, and operations of the Beverly Heritage Center as a museum, a tourist visitor center, and supporting all of its associated heritage attractions. We've done this in the past, and we take, this is our second half. We've already given the first half. So do I have a motion to approve the funding request from Beverly Heritage Center?
You want to do it, Chris?
I don't have the box.
Oh, okay, I'll do it then. I'll make a motion to approve the funding request from the Beverly Heritage Center in the amount of $25,000 to be taken from the hotel motel.
Motion on the floor is to approve the funding request from the Beverly Heritage Center in the amount of $25,000 to be taken from hotel motel, which is the second half period from January to June 2023. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of the submission for the 2023-24 VOCA grant. Are you back again? Could we not just do this?
I know. And I apologize, I talked to Brooke earlier. I wasn't sure that I just got on the agenda because this is the time, but I guess the federal administrators don't have their act together yet, so it's not time to submit it yet. I'll just get back on the agenda when it's time. I told her I'd call her this morning to table it, but then I got busy, and then Mr. Parker was called away from the office, and he asked me if I could do his part of the next thing.
Next one?
So I'm here anyway.
When's this supposed to be submitted by, or VOCA?
The VOCA, so this is the federal people, and usually they would by now be sending me, you know, the guidelines for the upcoming grant, the official date, which is usually April 1st.
Okay.
So I've just gotten in the habit of getting on this last agenda, but we're getting nothing, and I asked my more local grant administrator who's in Charleston. They say that it's happening, but they're changing some of the process and whatever, so,
So let's table this.
yeah,
All right,
that's what I think.
sounds good.
You can be Michael Parker.
And now I'll
then
now be the
motion.
prosecutor.
Do you want a motion to table?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table the 23-24 VOCA grant.
So motion on the floor is to table the submission for the 2023-24 VOCA grant until such time as the federal government gets their act together.
That's right.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of hire prosecuting attorney's office for juvenile services coordinator.
Okay, so for Mr. Parker, we're requesting approval to hire Cassie Lowry for the position of juvenile court coordinator. We had a number of very qualified candidates, but Cassie offers a wealth of experience, and after interviewing was the most qualified and best fit for our office. We've had a background check run on her through the sheriff's office, as we typically do, and nothing was discovered that prohibits her employment with the prosecutor's office. As such, we're requesting approval to hire Cassie Lowry for the position of juvenile coordinator as a full-time benefited position at a salary of $30,000 per year.
I can have a copy of the letter.
And I have the letter and her resume.
Thank you.
On that as well.
Thank you. All right. Want to do that one?
This for the, we're trying to find the name. Okay, there it is. Found it. I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of Cassie Renee Elmore Lowry. Request approval for the hiring of Cassie Lowry for the position of juvenile coordinator as a full-time benefited position at the salary of $30,000 per year.
All right, so motion on the floor is to
Fine.
approve Cassie Lowry as the position of, hiring for the position of juvenile coordinator as a full-time benefited position at the salary of $30,000 per year. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. I think you'll need that. You can take this back to Parker. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of hire recommendation for 4-H director. You wanna talk about that?
All right, a couple weeks ago, the 4-H board had met, the Randolph County Park and Rec Board for 4-H had met to do interviews. I think we interviewed approximately 8 people that evening, and they had worked it out to one person that they was wanting to offer the job to. So Randolph, the Randolph County Park and Rec Board requests that the Randolph County Commission employ Sarah Cunningham as the Director of Camp Pioneer, being a full-time position with benefits and a salary of $14 per hour, equaling $28,655 for the year.
All right, so motion on the floor is to approve the recommendation of the Randolph County Parks and Recreation Board to hire Sarah Cunningham as Director of Camp Pioneer, full-time position, paying $14 per hour, full county benefits, a 90-day probationary period will apply, and she'll begin work on Monday, March the 20th. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of new hire for 911 center. And it says Shauna will speak, but I don't think you look like Shauna.
No.
She lost all her hair.
Alright, see, our request is, for approval to hire Devin Patrice as a telecommunicator trainee. This will be a full-time position with county benefits. Probationary period of 6 months. Wages will be starting out at $12.25 an hour. That was a starting date of March 22nd, and the wages are covered in the current budget.
Motion on the floor, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I remember this boy from another job he has. He seems like just a really good young man. I think he'll do a fine job. This is a full-time position. I'll make a
Motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of Devin Patrice as a telecommunicator trainee. This is a full-time position with full county benefits and a probationary period of 6 months. This position will pay $12.25 per hour with a starting date of March 22nd, 2023.
Motion on the floor is to approve the hire of Devin Patrice as a telecommunicator trainee, full-time position, full county benefits, probationary period of 6 months. Position pays $12.25 an hour, starting date of March 22nd. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, next item on the agenda is.
Thank you.
Need a copy of this, or?
I've already given, we had a copy. We've already given.
Yeah,
Alright, cool deal.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
appreciate it, Robert.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of purchasing policy for vehicles. We would go through, prior to COVID, you would go through a statewide contract when you would try to purchase vehicles. But due to COVID and limited, you can't get cars or cruisers, they have modified their policy to say that automobiles, this item includes cars, trucks, SUVs, and vehicles under 14,000 pounds. If one of the following conditions are met, the automobile class is not available on the statewide contract, or the statewide contract cannot be utilized due to manufacturer inability or unwillingness to accept new orders. The purchase of an automobile from the statewide contract would result in receiving a current model year in future model years. Example, the state would receive a 22 model in the year 2020, in the 2023 model year. Which means that, how many times have you gone to people and you can't get vehicles? You have to go outside of this thing.
Yes.
So this is allowing us not to follow the statewide contract, that we can do this, we got to look for vehicles on our own.
Don't have to put bids in either.
Yeah, you don't have to accept bids due to the, and what I recommend is that we will follow this policy until, if it changes, then we'll come back to the state policy, so.
And part of the problem is if you go to put a bid in now on cars, they're gone before we can pick them up, or before we can vote on the bid.
So this is a state, list of commodities and services identified and possible to bid. This is our section 9, so do I have a motion to approve the purchasing policy for vehicles as submitted, the section 9 list of commodities and services identified as impossible to bid?
I'll make a motion to adopt the purchasing policy for vehicles as presented.
Motion on the floor is to approve and adopt the purchasing policy for vehicles as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Speaking of purchasing vehicles, Sheriff.
Yes, sir, in November 2021, you guys permitted me to order a vehicle through Fordland. We had four, in October we ordered four SUVs, Explorers. Ford canceled that order. It came into 2022. The one we ordered in November was an F-150 pickup. We still hadn't received that by March, I think, of 2022, so I canceled that order because we couldn't get it. Fordland decided they weren't gonna cancel it, they were just gonna keep it. We weren't obligated to it, but that truck came in about 2 weeks ago, and it's on the lot up there. And we had already got a push bar, a light bar, all the equipment basically to fit that vehicle, and we were in the means of trying to sell it to another police agency because we couldn't get the truck. The truck came, we still have the equipment, we never sold it, so I'm just asking if you'll let us purchase that. I'm gonna give that to my chief deputy, and then we'll just take his vehicle, put it down the line as a spare or a backup at this point.
Well, you're down a car now, right?
But we are down a car, yes.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve the purchase of a 2023 Ford F-150 police responder in the amount of $44,880 to be taken from our courthouse equipment line? And that's the line where we budget for situations like this.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 2023 Ford F-150 police responder in the amount of $44,880 to be taken from the courthouse equipment.
So motion on the floor is to approve the purchase of the 2023 Ford F-150 police responder in the amount of $44,880 to be taken from our courthouse equipment line. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item on the agenda is consider approval of the quote to replace flooring in the law enforcement office. What is this about?
The law enforcement division down at Weiss Annex, has carpet that was installed when the building was built. The way I understand it, it's completely worn out, and we just asked for a bid to replace it. Also with coming upstairs with K9 Handler, sometimes there's an accident, and it's just easier to clean up a tile floor versus a carpet that's there and try to get it cleaned up. So he doesn't always make messes, but occasionally he does. So this would be beneficial to the entire office, being as the carpet's frayed and basically worn out.
All right, you went out and looked for bids, is that correct?
We did. We got two bids, one from Sonny's Carpet, one from Bates Carpet. And this won't be a carpet going back, it'll be an LVT type flooring that they glue down that we can mop easily and keep it nice and shiny.
All right, so your first bid from Sonny's was $17,004.02, is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
And then you had Bates with two separate like a good and better, is that right?
Well, basically what happened is, he bid, he separated his bids based on where the area was upstairs in that area, in our office. And if you take all the carpeting that's there and you add those bids together, it comes like 14.5, and it's.
For the best flooring,
That's
right?
the best, and that's, yes.
I have $14,442.25.
Yeah.
1442.
Which is below the 170402.
Correct.
So, do I have a motion?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Bates Carpet in the amount of $14,442.25, taken from the other buildings maintenance for flooring replacement in the sheriff's law enforcement office.
Okay, so motion on the floor is to approve the quote from Bates Carpet and Furniture Center in the amount of $14,442.25 to be taken from our other building and maintenance line for flooring replacement in the sheriff's law enforcement office. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is, while we're doing a replacement of carpet, we're gonna look at, carpet replacement in the elevators. This replaces flooring in the courthouse and this, annex, the Weiss Annex, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Weiss Annex, elevators. To have a motion for that. We received one bid for that, and actually, it's under 25,000, so it's for $499.99, we really didn't have to have a bid. So do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Sonny's Carpet in the amount of $499.99 to be taken from the courthouse maintenance.
So motion on the floor is to approve the quote from Sonny's Carpet in the amount of $499.99 to be taken from courthouse maintenance to replace flooring in the courthouse, and the Weiss Annex elevators. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of the sign for the pool splash pad project, which I showed everybody today. We were want to talk about the mural design, but we did not receive that in time for the meeting, so we will not bring that up, but we will go ahead and have a motion for the sign design for the pool splash pad as presented today in my presentation. So to have a motion to approve the pool splash pad sign as presented.
Make a motion to approve the sign design for the pool splash pad as presented.
Motion on the floor is to approve the sign design for the pool splash pad as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of the ACBA license for El Toro Steakhouse. We have that. Now, El Toro, is this where Duke's used to be?
Yes.
All right. So we're, as, that is outside the city limits, Randolph County has no zoning regulations for properties outside the city municipalities. So they can apply for it. They need this letter to apply for their ACBA license. So they'll have a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion to approve the ACBA license letter for El Toro Steakhouse as presented.
Motion on the floor is to approve the ACBA, which is the alcohol license, for El Toro Steakhouse as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is to consider signing of the letter of support for Randolph County Public Library. We received this is P. Do I have a P? No. Is the letter not in the
It's Q.
queue? I even have my glasses on. All right. This is a letter of support for the Randolph County Commission to the Elkins Randolph County Public Library. Recently, our Elkins Randolph County Public Library was closed due to flooding as a result of the roof issue. The subsequent damage made the historic building uninhabitable. The library has set up a temporary location to continue to provide much needed services in the community. The Elkins Randolph County Public Library has decided to take this opportunity to expand and rebuild the much damaged building. The library trustees commissioned a West Virginia architectural and engineering firm, the Mills Group, to plan and develop the expansion project. The new building will utilize the old structure as much as possible, but will expand to 3 floors and a larger, wider footprint. There will be classrooms, tutoring spaces, a full kitchen, a room for meetings and classes, an amazing children's section, administrative office, and even a small cafe. The architectural design will keep the current building as much as the same, but provide the city with a beautiful facelift. Anybody seen the picture of what it's gonna look like? It's really amazing how much it looks exactly like, just like the current building, but a bit taller. At this time, the project budget is estimated to be $3,483,150 with a time frame of 18 months for completion. The library has a building fund which has had a successful open house event to provide the public with building information, site plans, renderings of the finished building. The library trustees are looking at many different funding sources and have talked to the Woodlands Development Center for directions on where to begin. The library is ready to move forward with construction, only hindrance will be funding. The library, even in its temporary state, is an important part of the community. Meetings, tutoring, classes, computer access are just a few of the services the library provides. Located as a hotspot for residents to get copies, send faxes, pay bills online, and check their emails. The Randolph County Commissioners support the library's return to its position as a positive entity in Randolph County. We are in full support of the Randolph County Public's funding request for the renovation and expansion of this building. So do I have a motion to approve the commission president's signature on the letter of support for the Randolph County Public Library as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the commission president's signature on the letter of support for Elkins Randolph County Public Library as presented.
Motion on the floor is to approve the commission president's signature on the letter of support for the Elkins Randolph County Public Library as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item on the agenda is consider ratification of commission president's signature on the letter of support for Norton Harding Jimtown Public Service District. We had to get a letter out of support, and it just clearly states that the Norton Harding Jimtown PSD water treatment plant replacement. I write to you in today's support of the Norton Harding Jimtown Public Service District's proposed water treatment plant replacement project and its submission for a congressional earmark request. These had to be in by last Sunday midnight. So we had to get this letter to them before this meeting. I cannot overstate the importance of providing a reliable, potable water infrastructure to the residents of Randolph County. Norton Harding Jimtown PSD is proactively working towards improving their water infrastructure and replacing the aging water treatment plant. Could increase the security of the PSD's ability to provide water to its residents. This project could directly support the sustainability of water service for the PSD's customer service area. I'm proud to fully support your efforts. Signed, myself. So do I have a motion to ratify my signature on a letter that we gave to the Norton Harding Jimtown PSD?
Yeah, project there's north of $10 million that they're working on right there.
Well, this is an earmark like we applied for your project.
Yeah.
And it had to be turned in by Sunday at midnight. Do I have a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion to ratify the commission president's signature on the letter of support for Norton Harding Jimtown PSD as presented.
Motion on the floor is to approve the ratification of my signature on the letter of support for the Norton Harding Jimtown PSD. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, another thing, the next item on the agenda is ratification of my signature on a letter of support regarding Quarter H. Again, this is something that Robbie Morris, he called over and he needed it right then. And this is before this meeting. Goes to Senator Manchin. Dear Senator Manchin, on behalf of the Randolph County Commission, I write to express our full support for the application by the West Virginia Department of Transportation to use congressionally directed spending, again, this earmark funding to fund Parsons to Davis section of Quarter H. Our entire region of West Virginia, including Randolph County, stands to benefit from a completed Quarter H. We have already seen increased economic activity with highways partial completion. A fully completed Quarter H will be a game changer for West Virginia and the entire Appalachian region. This project will enhance transportation, safety, and economic development. We are pleased to offer our full support for this project and encourage you to do everything possible to ensure this project is funded through its completion. Thank you in advance for your consideration and support, myself. So to have a motion to ratify my signature on the letter of support for Quarter H.
I'll make a motion to ratify the commission president's signature on the letter of support for Quarter H as presented.
All right, so the motion on the floor is to ratify my signature on the letter of support for Quarter H as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We've already done T&U. Final settlements, annual accountings. We have 4 final settlements. Do I have a motion to approve the 4 final settlements as presented?
And I'll make a motion to approve the 4 final settlements as submitted.
Motion on the floor is to approve the 4 final settlements as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have budget revisions too. All right, First one is an in-house budget revision to adjust Fund 076 expense lines for the sheriff to increase, his FEDCI equipment line, $5,000 to be taken, and to take it away from, the Fed CI contract service line. So do I have a motion to approve the in-house budget revision for the sheriff at $5,000?
I'll make a motion to approve the in-house budget revision for the sheriff for $5,000.
Motion on the floor is to approve the in-house budget revision to adjust the Fund 077 expense line for the sheriff. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have a state budget revision, dog warden transfers from GC, and then a state grant, Beverly Heritage Center, 5,000. What is the litter control grant? What was these ones?
Kathy sent that over. It's just to adjust things to the correct amount in the budget.
account.
Yep.
All right, so, to increase, the dog board transfer from the, general accounting, $2,475, state grant, which is our Beverly Heritage, grant, $5,000, litter control grant, that's the, where we're, the 2,470, and the other was 5,000. All right, so to have a motion, well, this is a roll call for the state budget revision, so Commissioner Keithling's aye, Commissioner Seiler,
Aye.
Commissioner C.
Aye.
All right, so that budget revision passes. Distressed properties?
No.
I'm sorry, that I skipped, so there's no distressed properties? Division of property, erroneous assessments. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 8 division of property erroneous assessments. Do I have a motion to approve the 8 division of property as submitted?
Make a motion to approve the 8 divisions of property, property,
Erroneous assessments.
and the 8 division of property and erroneous assessments as submitted.
Okay, motion on the floor is to approve the 8 division of property erroneous assessments as submitted. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Fire fee adjustments. I think there's 20. So do I have a motion to
We
approve?
have 20.
Do you have a motion to approve the 20 fire fee adjustments as submitted?
Oh, make a motion to approve the 20 fire fee adjustments as presented.
Motion on the floor is to approve the 20 fire fee adjustments as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, payment of the bills.